Are you dreaming of a little bit of space to breathe? Maybe you're tired of traffic or the cost of city life. Maybe you just want that like small town feel. So Blanchard, Oklahoma might just be the perfect spot for you. It might be what you're looking for. So right now my husband is cleaning the windshield so that you can have the greatest view ever to see Blanchard as we take you on a tour. We're covering everything you need to know, like acreages and storm shelters and wells and septics and all the different streets. I mean, not all of them, but you're going to get a good feel for it. I'm Marcie Billen. I am a local real estate agent and I do work a ton in Blanchard. So this is your deep dive into this small town. Maybe you can figure out if this is a place where you can plant some roots and spread out a little bit. So grab a coffee and let's take a drive through Blanchard. All right, this is our first neighborhood. And I'm starting off in North Blanchard. So we're gonna go north to south. So like you're not gonna be able to see all of it. Like if I did that, it would take a long time. But the idea here is to give you like a good feel for how everything is kind of set up and what things look like. So we're just getting off of the highway right now. It's actually a toll road. We have a lot of those. But we'll get off here. This is Highway 76, one of the major highways. I think it's a U.S. highway that goes through Blanchard. So Blanchard's also kind of funny shaped on the map. So we're starting off in the top of it, which is kind of all surrounded by Newcastle.
There's KT's.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be like a really great barbecue joint. I don't like barbecue. But everyone loves KT's. I've never been there. It's fun. All right, guys. Clouds are looking good for us today. So naturally, I'm not going to be able to show you every piece of road that we drive down. But we'll be able to get quite a bit in here today. So this is just county road we're driving down. Oh, it's almost Halloween. So this person has a giant skeleton, whoa, in their front yard. I don't know if you could see that. This cool. I mean, not for me. I would put that way. So the neighborhood we're headed out to is the farm. And we just sold a house out here. You're going to be looking at many homes that are going to be like resales under $500,000. There are some newer homes. There are just a couple of brand new homes left in there right now. So nothing too crazy, but there are homes that are for sale, like that are resale. So I think the first home I sold in here was in 2019. And there's a pond so you can go fishing. Like there's no sidewalks, of course, but people are going to be like walking their dogs in the evenings and like the kids are going to play, things like that. Yeah, you can go in the first one. So it has two entrances. So these are acre lots in here. And a lot of people who I help move to Blanchard, that's what they're after, kind of, is that sort of acre lot situation. Because you get all this space, right, from your neighbors. And your neighbors want the space and you want the space. And it's kind of peaceful. This neighborhood is also shop approved. So another reason why people really tend to like it. So we can just drive to the first turnaround and then we can head out. So these homes all have at least a 3-car garage. I think some of them might have more. It depends on if they were custom or not. And there is actually an HOA in here. It's nothing crazy. Nothing crazy.
I mean, obviously, if you can build this right here, I don't think they're too concerned about stuff.
Build this, what, the thing on the road?
Yeah, what's this other house?
That is the HOA.
Well, that's the clubhouse.
This is a clubhouse. This little red barn. It's because it's the farm. And everyone in here pretty much, like, there's some privacy fences, but a lot of people are going to have chain link. And everyone in here has a private septic system. And on an acre in Oklahoma, you're going to have an aerobic system. I do have a video about that if you're wondering how that works, where I explain it. You can see this person has a pretty cool shop. That's really nice. And then everyone in here also has a private well. So no city water, no city sewage.
So you probably need a water softener.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to have water softeners because the well water tends to be quite hard, and it can be hard on your hair and hard on your pipes and your skin and all of that fun stuff. All right, back out. Heading to our next destination. So my idea here, of course, is to give you an idea of what all of these homes look like. So if you couldn't tell, people here really like red brick. So that's a lot of the homes. And they call, like, I hear people call these homes ranch style homes, but in reality, they're actually called Dallas style homes. Ranch style typically has a larger front porch. Yeah. So that is what the style really is called. It's pretty green right now. It's September, and we have had more rain this year than ever before. So everything is still green. But a lot of times at this time of year, it's going to be pretty brown because we just don't have a ton of rain, typically in August. The population in Blanchard is just under 10,000 still. So it was a pretty small town for a long time. The home prices in here on average we're seeing right now are between $330,000 and $345,000. So the history of this place is the town was kind of established in 1906, although it wasn't incorporated at that time. And then it's actually in two counties, in Grady County and McLean County. Okay, we are headed to our next destination. And yes, this road is worse than the last one. And you'll see, like, this tall grass. Like I said, everything's really green right now.
It's Oklahoma Prairie.
Yeah, but it is the prairie. We are in western Oklahoma-ish. People have been fighting me on that, so it is western Oklahoma. But so like I said, the two counties are Grady and McLean County. And I bring that up because it is seemingly important to people. And it does come with, of course, some different tax things and different places where you would go to, say, like the courthouse, etc. So here's one of the new neighborhoods over here on our right, but there's not very many houses in there. No. There's 3 houses in there right now, which is not very big. So for Grady County, the county seat is in Chickasha, and just look it up, Chickasha, and yes, it is Chickasha. I've heard varying pronunciations of that town. It is a college town, which is surprising for sure for some people. And a lot of people who live in Blanchard will work there because it's quite
I
close.
think it's a science college.
It's a science college, yeah. It's Oklahoma School of Arts and Sciences is the name of it. I'm pretty surprised that man did not wave at us, but we should have waved first, I think. So now Hanson's waving. Uh, and then McLean County, the county seat is Purcell, which is directly east. Hanson's waving at everybody now. It's directly east of Blanchard and like south of Norman. So the property tax rate in McLean County is 0.93%. That's the average. Like it's going to vary in some of the towns depending on what town you're in, but that's the average. So that means on a $500,000 home, you'll pay $4,650 in 1 year for taxes, for property taxes. Now, that doesn't take into account things like if you get your property taxes frozen because of your age. Of course, in Oklahoma, 100% disabled veterans don't pay property taxes at all. And then you also have the homesteading. We are a homesteading state, and so if you file a homestead, then you get a little bit off your property taxes. Also, it helps your property taxes not go as high as maybe they would without it. So I think it's a 3% increase. Don't quote me on that because I can't remember, but that's about what it is that keeps your property taxes down. Oh, je ne warn de Interesting. Black. No, it was very small. All right. Yes, we are headed to Deer Run. This is not a brandy neighborhood. This road is really fun, so you're getting the full experience. But once again, these are going to be much bigger lots. I think these are half-acre lots, varying sizes. I forgot this one does have a gate also.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Had a deer on the gate.
Yes, it does have deers on the gates. I like this neighborhood. I like all the trees in here for being on the open prairie. So regular brick homes, most of them are going to be 1 story. Oklahomans, and I have this conversation with people a lot, Oklahomans do not like 2-story very much. Sometimes they take longer to sell. Sorry, now we're going west, so the sun is in our face. And sometimes it's just, it's just tough for 2 stories. So typically our primary bedrooms are on the first floor. So that is a public pond. They have a public pond in here. So people are probably going to be fishing. In my neighborhood is like morning, evening, night, whenever they can fish. Like I see them out there in the dark. So there's different types of fences out here. It doesn't. Oh, that's nice. The new house. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. One person mentioned to me recently that like people don't have a lot of landscaping, and I kind of was like agreeing with them. Sometimes people don't do a lot of landscaping, and sometimes they do. It's kind of the same for pools. We do, of course, have a long summer, so a lot of people have pools, but a lot of people don't. And the latest I've heard on installing an ingrown pool has been starting at around $50,000.
My advice is to find a friend with a pool.
Definitely find a friend with a pool. That does help. So we're headed back to the main street that we just came off of, which is 85th. And we're gonna go back south. And there is a nice little hill right here. Whoa. What are those things called?
Street legal ATV.
Street legal ATVs.
Or not a side by side. Like a razor.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called. You're going fast though.
We're in Newcastle. Kinda.
Yeah, Newcastle kind of bisects Blanchard at one point, so we got to get on this highway. So this is the big highway. So by big highway, I mean Highway 62. I had to make sure I got that one right. So Blanchard is part of what's called the Tri-City area. So you have Blanchard, that's the furthest town south of the Tri, meaning 3 cities. And then Newcastle's in the middle and Tuttle is up north. But then there's also this little town called Bridge Creek. That's really part of it's really a part of all 3, but it's its own incorporated thing and they have their own schools. So, Tri-City at Newcastle is where the Walmart is. And that is where many people will buy their groceries, of course. But Blanchard has its own grocery store called Spencer's. Also, it's just small. It's a local grocery store. So yes, technically right now we are in Newcastle and we're about to cross into Blanchard. This is where you get on the turnpike or the toll road to get to Chickasha. So that's how a lot of people are going to get to work if they work in Chickasha. So on my right is 415 acres for sale. I wonder how much that is. I haven't seen that one yet. It's for sale by owner. So if we got on here, if we got on the highway, the toll road, it would be Highway 9, but it's also getting on the toll road, of course. So Highway 9, it goes south of Norman, and it's a state highway. So on Highway 9 right here and coming to Blanchard, a lot of times you'll see the buffaloes. There's this one rancher that has buffalo out here. So there's a sign up here on my right that says Blanchard is in 5 miles and Chickasha is 23. So in terms of how far it is to Oklahoma City, let me get my numbers correct here for you. So, there it is. From the town center of Blanchard to the airport is 24 miles, which would typically take you between 25 and 35 minutes. And then to get to OU, because people still work at OU out here, you're looking at 15 miles, which will take between 18 and 25 minutes. Traffic's going to be a little bit heavier, typically, going into Norman because it's a town, a big town. All right, we're back. I had to shut off for a second because of the sun. So a lot of times this is what people tend to ask me for. You'll see on These homes aren't in a neighborhood, they're just on the county road. Sorry, the sun is behind them. They're very cute, and they're all on at least an acre right there. And then here is a neighborhood. Walnut Creek Estates. So a little hilly, all sort of different types of homes. So not cookie cutter, and all on at least an acre, it looks like. There might be some a little bit smaller. So these are some new homes for sale in here. And guys, I'm linking all of these in one link in the description so you can find them. So these are newer homes down here. It's really gorgeous. Oh wow, look at this on the end. And a lot of neighborhoods do allow for RVs to be parked. This one at the end here has this like really cool shop that they're building for their RV. Like it's pretty amazing. And it's like a Tudor revival. Oh, that's beautiful. I like it. I like it. Some really cool houses down here. It feels very tucked away. These homes, like I said, you can find the link down below to see all the different ones that are available right now on Blanchard. All right, sorry. Getting the steering all weird there. And there's been all sorts of different types of designs for homes in here. Like this one in front of us, very like cottage, the huge porch was a drain. And then there's a modern one up here on my left. So not all red brick, some painted brick, of course, some siding, and then
It's definitely in a golf cart neighborhood.
yeah, like you see this guy with this golf cart.
It's a fancy golf cart.
It's a very fancy golf cart. So you get to know all your neighbors. Yeah, here's a
Side
by side coming. Oh, the kid's driving. He was like, what, 10?
maybe.
Yeah, that's a cool neighborhood. I'm going back to the highway so we can go into the actual town of Blanchard. So there is still open farmland out here. I mean, obviously, this all used to be farms. This guy is spraying his fields with something, not a farmer. Yeah, I've driven this before. I scared some people with this road before. There's an urgent care right here. There's not a hospital in Blanchard, but you definitely have a few urgent cares that I know of. And then hospitals on the south side of OKC. And of course in Norman. And more. Right, we're headed west. Yeah, this is Northwest 55th. That's what I bought. We're just headed to another little neighborhood. On the way, you can see kind of if the sun's not too bright in your face. Some other little neighborhoods. All the homes are going to be on at least a half acre, if not more. Some in neighborhoods, some not in neighborhoods. We passed our stop, but we're heading back.
Operator, I apologize.
Yes, we're just thinking about other things sometimes. I do it all the time. Okay. I think this neighborhood's just one little street, but we got just a few homes in here. You can tell a few different builders. Of course, you can still have shops and everything. Most everyone's gonna have that 3-car garage, which is fun. And of course, an acre. We've got privacy fences and chain link fences. And one thing we haven't talked about is storm shelters. Of course, Blanchard has been hit a few times by tornadoes. And a lot of people out here end up having an outdoor storm shelter, like in their yard. And some people have them in their garage. Some people have them in their house. Like, it really just depends on what your comfort level is and how much you want to spend. I don't know what I would prefer. I mean, I grew up with one in the house.
Yeah, we were on in the house. That's nice.
Yes, that is nice. With a nice little shop.
Someone's birthday.
Yeah, it's someone's birthday, and they're already decorated for Halloween. In October, I wear my Halloween cat shirt all the time. Yeah, man, that's a really nice shot too. It's huge. Really like some of these houses because they have big front porches. But then of course, some people have big back porches. It kind of depends on where you want to sit, but like also in a front porch style neighborhood, you do tend to know your neighbors a little bit better, which is nice.
Unfortunately, they're all, the left side's all front porches facing west.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I guess it's nice in the winter. It's a decent amount of trees in this neighborhood. Like, maybe not surrounding all the houses, but at least in the back of the house.
He's like glistening.
That tree is glistening. It's beautiful. And you are allowed, it looks like, to park your RV in here. That's always something I check for people. And this is Bridge Creek, just to be clear. make sure I show you guys where we're at. Cool. Now we're headed back towards the town of Blanchard. So we'll go south on 76 here in a couple of miles. Checks.
No, they see your car.
I don't think we have. So I couldn't show you earlier. We drove down the same road, but we were going west, so the sun was in our faces. We got some houses here on the right that are not in the neighborhood. I do have some people that comment sometimes on our, roads, and yes, they are not always amazing. And remember, some of these counties don't have a lot of manpower to deal with the roads, and these towns have been growing pretty quickly. So, just something to keep in mind as you're thinking about what kind of car you drive and how often you're going to be going up and down the road. So we talked some about the water. So most people are going to have wells, depending on where you are and if there's city water available to you. Most of the time, people a lot closer into Blanchard are going to have city water, and these people out here will not have city water. And then we talked about sewer. So most people are going to have private sewer systems. If the house is older than like 10, 15 years, you will see sewer systems that are regular tanks, and then you're going to have the aerobic systems. So aerobic systems just have a few more mechanical parts. Some people really hate them. Like, I talked to some people who just absolutely hate them, and I talked to a lot of people who love them. But if you're on less than, I believe it's 2 acres here in Oklahoma, you must have an aerobic system and not a tank system. So the tank system has lateral lines, so it needs that larger leach field, which is why you have to have a bigger space. But there are less moving parts, less mechanical parts on that tank system. So we talked about sewer, we talked about water, so gas. These, like right here where we are, they don't have public gas, so they'll have propane tanks. And remember, we are an oil and gas state. Most houses are going to have gas on some part of the house. Sometimes it's just the fireplace, so they'll have a tiny propane tank. And sometimes it's the furnace and the fireplace and the stove. It just really depends on the situation. And of course, propane is going to vary month to month sometimes, depending on how you set it up to bill. And then, like, how big of a tank you have is like how often you'll have to fill it up. Another thing is electric. So most of the houses out here are going to have OEC, which is Oklahoma Electric Co-op. It's local. The main offices are in Norman. And I rarely hear people complain about it. Of course, the co-ops, they do say that your electric bill is going to be a little bit higher, but you also have more say in what happens. And then with OEC, everyone out here typically has access to 2 different kinds of internet, or 2 different companies that have fiber internet. So we're talking Pioneer, which is a local Blanchard company, and then OEC has OEC Fiber, which of course is also technically local in Norman. And uh, it was a pretty big movement to get internet out to these rural areas. So it really keeps people living out here, which is awesome. Helps the kids. Like having that kind of internet has really been amazing for rural Oklahoma. Like even whenever I first moved to Norman, people didn't have internet in like within 4 miles of the city center, but now nearly everybody does because of the like OEC putting fiber in, Pioneer putting fiber in. Of course, a lot of places have AT&T fiber as well. The people that we typically help move out to Blanchard are coming in from out of state. A lot of Californians and a lot of Arizonans. People from Texas, of course, are most of the people moving in from out of state here. And overall, it's the want of a slower lifestyle, which you typically get in a town of 10,000 people with a 25-minute drive to an international airport. That's kind of rare, I feel like, where you can like get a house for $300,000. What is it?
Urgent care.
Oh, urgent care, yeah. Yeah, you can get a house for $300,000 and it can be on an acre and you can have a 25-minute drive to Sooner football or to the airport. So, yeah. Now we're coming into Blanchard. So we're going to have the local grocery store, Spencer's, on our left here. I think we're going to go by it. And then on our right would be some of the schools. So the schools in Blanchard are rated at a B+. And there's about 2,000, like a little over 2,000 students in the Blanchard school system. So we have Spencer's and Domino's over here, and of course banks. We still have some law offices. So we're turning left to go to another neighborhood. So there's a neighborhood on our left as well, and like those are, I'm not gonna drive through it for you, but those are it's a regular city neighborhood, so they're not gonna have well and they're not gonna have septic, but it's gonna be public, and they're gonna have regular city lots. But keep in mind that regular city lots here in Blanchard are bigger, a lot bigger typically than lots that you're gonna find in Norman or in Oklahoma City. Woo! All right, so there is a Mazio's up here and a diner. Of course, there's Brahms because the headquarters of Brahms, the main dairy farm, is in Tuttle, which is really close, one of the Tri-Cities. So that's fun. So we're back at Highway 62, and it is, rush hour, question mark, at 6 o'clock. So this is our rush hour, not very much. So this is Fox Run. These are homes on regular lots. So some of them might be up to a half acre, but they're mostly going to be on like 0.3, which is still pretty big for being this close into town.
A washer.
Yeah, you can pick up a washer.
A dog. For a little.
Mm-hmm. All right, now you'll be able to see a little bit better. So we drive through here, what these houses are like. Mostly 2-car garages. And they're all gonna have.
I didn't change it.
To go to the next one. Interesting. So they're all gonna have public water, public sewer, public gas. Okay, we're back on the road. Going. Oh, there's a Sonic. I forgot to tell you that. Of course, there's Sonics everywhere. This is Oklahoma. Sonic is headquartered here. So now we're headed into downtown. We're going to drive through like one of the major sections of downtown. And of course, we already kind of passed the school, so we're not driving by that either. We'll also drive by a park. So the intermediate school is, I believe that's 6th through 8th. It's on our right. And I realize a lot of you may not have kids if you're moving out here for retirement or being empty nesters, but a good school system that's highly rated means that your home will keep its value, so that's pretty cool. On our right is the Veterans Memorial that they built here in Blanchard. It's pretty nice. I know they just finished it a couple of years ago. And then to our left on here is going to be Old Town Blanchard. So just a tiny little downtown. And then Blanchard is part of the Pioneer Library System. So it just means that you can like order books from the library in Oklahoma City and Norman and more. Like it's a pretty good system. I read a lot from that, like getting books from there, whether it's gonna be, on my Kindle or a regular book, whatever. So now we're going south of town. So you can see the actual town of Blanchard isn't very big. So south of town, we're headed to the golf course. There's 3 golf courses, but one of the major ones is Winter Creek. And there's a lot of homes being built down there. And of course, inside of Blanchard, there's 2 parks. And it's like, I always tell this story, but like I was showing homes to a couple that was moving here from Florida a couple of years ago. And we went to Boomerang, which is one of the local diners here in Blanchard. And we sat down and like 2 different tables came up and introduced themselves to us. They knew that we worked from here, even though the town is still 10,000 people. Like it's pretty big really for a small town. But they were just so nice, and of course talking about like all the different activities there are to do here in Blanchard. Like May Days is their biggest festival. People love the baseball team. Whether you have kids or not, you go out to the Friday night football game. Whoops. So that's the kind of community feel that we see in Blanchard itself. Okay, you're turning into a neighborhood. We've been out here in a while.
Nice.
Yeah. I feel like this gate is new. So these are, once again, homes on an acre. Shop approved. Not cookie cutter. Some have pools. This one in front of us does. Oh, that one over there does too. Some are red brick, some house siding. Oh, that's nice. Tremendous. Woo! Like that. I like that. Lots of trees down in here. Oh, they're sitting on their front porch.
Chicken roaming around.
Oh, yeah. Chickens are super popular. So you'll find lots of friends with chickens in these towns. Humble. Oof. Well, house is nice and tucked back in there. I do find that this is what people mean by they want some elbow room or some space. So you can still hear your neighbor sneeze sometimes, but you both got to be outside, you know? Stuck on the highway, then go hit the golf course. But no, not golf. We don't golf. We're not golfers.
She won't let me.
That's right. He has plenty of place. Woo! So Winter Creek, the golf course, kind of tucked back in here. The road is not as wide as you would imagine it would be, but there are lots of new houses, lots of developments going on down here. On my left is like some homes on 10 acres, and on my right are homes on like 1 acre. Kind of windy with some trees. Technically, when we get down here, it's Middleburg, which is another town that actually has a K through 8 school. And then, or like the kids can, like, they have a choice of going to Middleburg or going to Blanchard. I actually went to a K through 8 school whenever, by Tulsa, whenever I was a kid. So I graduated from 8th grade with like, I think it was 36 people. It was an interesting experience for sure. So for the homes I've sold back here that are around about $250,000, those neighborhoods, if it's in a neighborhood, don't have paved roads. They have gravel roads because to pave a road is very expensive. So keep that in mind. So like that neighborhood, which I think I had one under contract in there, and for like 320, and it doesn't have paved roads. How's a pond? So at the end of this road here is the golf course and the neighborhood.
Shoot in this way.
That's fine. Yeah, you can go straight. So there's quite a few homes built in here already. Um, I won't lie to you and say that they sell really fast because they don't. But it's kind of a cool community, and I think it really works for a lot of people and really doesn't for some others.
Taking my out back here.
Yep. So here's the actual golf course. People be golfing them, and it's a nice night, so I get it. Clubhouses down there. So these are all empty lots that they're going to build on. And they just have a few going back here right now. Some of these back up to the actual golf course and some don't. So, yeah.
Some gear.
Yep. Well, there's deer in the road. He was taking his sweet time. Right. Back to the golf course. A different view this time without the sun. Oh, these are cool. Few two-story homes. That neighborhood is our last stop in Blanchard. We're in very far south Blanchard. So remember, I am a real estate agent and I am here to bring you all things Oklahoma real estate related. And if you are looking to buy a home or sell a home here in Oklahoma or looking to relocate, give me a call. I can help you and we can figure out what your next steps should probably be. I have some more videos like this that might help you in your decision if you're thinking about relocating or moving to Oklahoma. So you might want to check out this video next.